Salutations, acquaintances, friends, family, what have you. In a previous video, in my last video, I talked about analyzing your dreams like analyzing a movie. Kind of taking the symbols and the feelings and the archetypes and the juicy shit from your dreams as a way to kind of pry into your unconscious, into looking at what the fuck is actually happening in here, up there, everywhere, right? Your real life is actually very much like a dream, and if you analyze or you look through the lens of your life like a dream, like it's something you've created out of your psyche, out of your unconscious perhaps, then perhaps you have some truth, you have some insights into the underlying truth of this fabric of existence, in this reality, in this matrix, in this Maya that we call life. Oh yeah, I dare say, my dear friend, as above, so below, the world begins with you. It's like, really, the internal thing is creating the external thing. And in the future, I'll do more of a as above, so below video where it's like, you'll see how there's just so many things that just, like on a microscopic scale, you'll see it on a macroscopic scale. What is happening here on this level is always repeating on a bigger level. So it's like what's happening inside of you is also repeating, it's being reflected. However, in a dream, everything is instant, right? It's like something happens in a dream, it can happen really quickly and you don't really notice it. You know, if you watch Inception, it's like you can think of something and boom, it happens. Well, actually, the same thing happens in real life as well, albeit a lot slower. It's like a dense stream, like real life is what I like to say. The feelings, the people, the archetypes, the environments, the symbols, that always repeat, the patterns, essentially, of your real life is most likely a reflection of what's going on inside here. So, you know, like there's that whole thing where a lot of, you know, people are like, oh, I always meet the same people, I always date the same guys, and they're always jerks, and da-da-da-da-da. It's like, well, why are these people keep repeating? Like, why do these same archetypes of people, this, you know, type of people, whether it's like an energetic type, they can even look the same, you know? It's like oftentimes in life, I would meet people that look like previous people I've met, and they would actually act like previous people, and it's like, whoa, these are just like the same templates occurring over and over again, right? Archetypes, right? So it's like, why do these things happen to repeat all the time? And the answer I theorize is because you are attracting these people. You are, I don't know if you want to say you're creating them, but perhaps you are. And as such, they get repeated in your reality because that aspect of them is still resting inside of you. So what I'm trying to say is, it's like, if you don't take your life for granted, you know, and you don't condemn everything that comes into your life, fuck Trump, fuck America, fuck COVID-19, whatever, right? It's like, well, why are these things happening? If you have a look, take a step back and really look at it, why are these things being created in my life? Then perhaps you will actually find some insight that will help you, you know? Some way for you to take responsibility for your reality, because ultimately, that's what we want, you know? It's like, you know, it's like option A, everything just happens around you and you have no fucking control, and you are just a victim through and through, 24/7, 365, lifetime after lifetime. Or would you prefer you have some control over your reality and that you are in fact creating it? Because I think the latter is better. And it's like, if you choose to take the red pill and believe in the latter, shall we say, then you can actually start looking at everything around you that is happening to you, well, for you actually, it's not to you, it's for you, really. I think you can take some power back into yourself and become somewhat godlike, I would even say. The first thing I want to touch upon is people, you know. So if you look at Adlerian psychology, it's all to do with socialization, you know. It's like every problem is a social problem. The themes that we deal with in life have to do a lot with other people and external, let's say external people and external circumstances. But that's like, external circumstances are shaped by people, essentially. So if you're able to kind of, confront and conquer, let's say, the whole mirage, the illusion of people that comes into your life, then I think you have a lot of control over yourself. So it's like, if you notice through your life what kind of people tend to get repeated into your life, like what kind of type of person, you know, this is where I think archetype studies are really useful, like Myers-Briggs or astrology or human design or Enneagram or whatever you're into. It's like, the more you study that, the more you kind of see how people actually tend to repeat, not to put people in a box. I think everyone is unique in their own way, but there is a tendency for energies to clump together. Whether you attribute that to the stars and the neutrinos that fire at the person as they get birthed into this world, that is determining the energies that are present within them, or something else altogether. It's like, the fact of the matter is, there does seem to be a repetition of energies in people that gets repeated over and over again. It's like, if you start noticing these things that come into your life, it's like, well, maybe there's some message for you of why these people keep coming into your life. And it's like, one thing that I find is especially important, it's like what people trigger you. It's like they could either trigger you negatively or positively. For example, looking at what people trigger you negatively actually is more helpful, because I think positively is like a good time and you don't really need to worry about that. But it's like, if these negative feelings that keep getting triggered, that keeps triggering you, that comes from other people, that's like, well, you got to ask yourself, why are they triggering you? And ultimately, the answer, I believe, is there's something within you that's unresolved. There's something insecure within you that is allowing other people to trigger you. It's like you're letting other people trigger you because there's a weakness within you. And it's like, if you actually strengthen that weakness or resolve it, or defragment yourself in a way, and it's like you complete yourself in that aspect of you, those people either will just no longer come into your life because there's nothing for them to actually serve you. There's no energy. It's like you have a vacuum inside of you, right? And it's like wind needs to fill it. And it's like the wind is those people that are triggering you. And it's like, well, if you fill the hole within you with your internal spiritual awakening or journeys, or lessons, or psychological developments, or trauma removal, or what have you, then either those people will just disappear completely, or if they come, they just won't trigger you. So again, I want to go back to this kind of point about how like people tend to meet the same people over and over again. It's like in relationships, right? Oh, I keep meeting these jerks, right? Or whatever. It's like, well, your ex, whatever, that might have been really toxic, they never really go away, because it's like a certain energy, a certain aspect of you is attracting that energy in your life. So it's like, even if you break up with them and you move away, it's like, if that part of you hasn't been resolved, then another person with a similar energy will just replace that person and get manifested into your reality. You're trying to solve an internal problem by doing something externally, right? And that's why this pattern keeps repeating. So it's like, well, if you want to get rid of the external problem, it's like, instead of confronting it externally with your ego, it's like, well, what is the shadow within you that is actually creating this external problem? So it's like, if you're able to deal with it internally, then chances are that external problem will disappear. And eventually, you can probably get to a point where you're really grateful. You can thank all the nasty people, the toxic people, the narcissistic, the piece of shits people in your life that come by, that you're like, God damn, this person and that, like, fuck them. But it's like, well, fucking them is only really fucking you, because, well, you're creating them. And it's like, well, we are all one if you want to go down that rabbit hole. And it's like, they're simply showing you an aspect of you that you haven't dealt with. So now we're gonna get a little bit more woo-woo. So like, I really like angel numbers. So it's like repeating numbers that people, I always say, that people sometimes, I feel like maybe are perhaps circle jerking over, and they're seeing more there than it's worth noting. But it's like, if you see repeating numbers like 1111, or like just one, or 11s, or 22s, or 333, or 444s, it's like, if you choose to use that as a permission slip, as a as a way for, let's say, angels or higher selves to communicate to you, then, well, it will work. Like whatever works for you, works for you. You just have to choose your tool, pick your poison, or pick your antidote in this case, I suppose. So then when the repeating numbers come into your life, it can have a message for you. And I like to use that. So for example, a negative message could be 666 when you see repeating numbers of 666. And say, oh no, it's like the devil's number or whatever, right? But it's like, one interpretation of 666 is that you're focusing too much on your physical life, and it's like you can actually let go a little bit, let go of your ego-driven desires, and just actually focus more on your internal state of just feeling at peace, and more so on your spiritual journey. So it's like when I see 666, for example, repeating, it's like, oh fuck. I'm in a state of kind of like in a frenzy of like, oh fuck, I need to get things done, and it's like la 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 la. When really it's like you can just calm down, take a chill pill, like daddy chill, take a step back, kind of reevaluate, reflect, journal, kind of sit down, go back into your internal state, And then, you know, proceed from then onwards where you are a lot more calmer, your intuition is firing and everything is a little bit better. And then, you know, other things are like, you know, AAA, you're in a state of abundance, or like 333, you're having fun, you're having a good time, or 444, angels around you, you're in balance, like stuff like that. Maybe I'll do a video later on angel numbers and kind of what they mean, or how I interpret them from what I've gathered. But you can kind of just like Google their different meanings, and it's like you just take kind of what resonates with you, because it's like, what resonates with you, your higher self would also use. It's like a language between you and your angels or your higher self. One thing I will say, it's like, some people, when they're like, they see an angel number, they're like, oh my God, you know, good things are coming. Like, I feel so aligned with the universe. It's like, yes, you are already aligned. It's like, it's not coming. Nothing is ever coming. Like, if you see 666, right, it's like, it means right now, you are misaligned, you know, like you are too focused on the physical and not so much on the spiritual or the psychological, for example. So it's already here. Or AAA, you are already in a state of abundance. Like, money isn't going to come. You are already in that abundant kind of mindset. Just be aware of that. It's like, and it's like sometimes we like to think great things are happening in the future, but it's like, well, there is actually no future. We only have the present. Everything is already here now. So it's like, if you take these numbers as an indication of what you are actually feeling, that you are creating in your reality, then I think that's really useful, instead of just kind of being like, oh great, it's coming in the future, let's not worry about it. It's like, well, not to say you need to worry about it, but it's like, it's actually here now, and if you take the message now, you'll probably get some help or message out of it. And then besides angel numbers, like any type of symbols or animals or colors that kind of come into your life, like they can, like anything that can be symbolic. Like if you analyze a film, like you can anything can be like a symbol or a motif or a theme, right? It's like, it can actually represent something. So it's like, for example, I keep seeing recently owls, like owl, you know, whether it's like, you know, owl statues, owl pictures, there's something there, it's trying to tell you. It's like you're attracting it for some strange reason. It's like maybe an owl represents wisdom, represents kind of like higher picture thinking, like you're able to see, you know, the all-seeing owl kind of thing, right? Maybe there's something there, and it's like, maybe I keep seeing that because I'm in a state where I have a lot of clarity. Perhaps it's telling me that I have a lot of clarity, and it's like, I'm just telling you this right now. I'm also kind of figuring it out. If you have repeating things in your life like that, it's like, well, what do you think it could represent? If you try and analyze that symbol, like you analyze a symbol in a movie, it's like there might be a message there for you. And if you don't know, you can always Google the symbols to kind of give you a clue. But ultimately, you want to personalize the meaning to you as much as possible. Memes, I feel like, is a collective representation. It's like a collective, it's like a reflection of the collective unconscious. So it's like, and the entire society of the world, or at least people that go on the internet, is like, we're going through something in our consciousness, in our psyche, and it's like, memes actually, in my opinion, reflect that. So it's like, the only reason memes are appearing, like especially popular viral, like anything viral in general actually, that are appearing is because something within the fucking collective unconscious is creating that. And it's like, if you actually look into why that might be being created, then there could be a very startling message for us. So now, for example, the game Among Us was very popular. The game got released maybe years ago, and then it wasn't really popular. And then all of a sudden, maybe because of TikTok or some other shit, it became really popular, it became really viral, and everyone was like, oh, you're the imposter, Among Us, right? But it's like, okay, why does that keep popping up? And I started thinking, I'm like, well, maybe actually, you know, with all the recent alien activity and kind of like alien speak, at least in my reality, it's like, well, maybe they are literally among us, right? Maybe aliens are already among us. Like I said, it's like everything that's happening is already here, and they are just simply masquerading as human beings. I learned about these like Nordic, and strangely enough, I've been very attracted to Scandinavia recently, about these like Nordic alien beings, like this guy, I think this Canadian minister, maybe I'll put up the clip.
But the latest reports that I've been getting from various sources are that there are about 80 different species, and some of them look just like us, and they could walk down the street and you wouldn't know if you ran, you know, walked past one. And they're what we call the Nordic blondes, and also the tall whites.
You have these like imposter humans among us, right? But that are actually aliens. So it's like, maybe the reason that Among Us keeps showing up is because, well, unconsciously, somehow, intuitively, we know that they're already among us. And it's like, therefore these memes keep popping up into our lives to kind of tell us, hey, well, they're actually among us. or the whole kind of like, if you're into anime, like there's a genre that is very popular right now called isekai, or it's kind of like anything with tensei in it, which means reincarnation, where it's like essentially, usually the story is like some guy in Japan who's a loser in real life Japan, or real life, they're just a loser in real life, they suddenly die because of some stupid accident, and then they get reincarnated into like some medieval time with magic and like monsters and cat girls and shit like that, and it's like, it's kind of like you're getting reincarnated into an MMO. However, you don't lose your memories. It's like, yeah, we can say we got reincarnated into this life on Earth, right? But we lose our memories. But it's like in the anime, it's like they don't lose their memories. It's like, so they have modern knowledge, but they get reincarnated in medieval times. So obviously they're very smart and they're very OP, you know, in that world, and they know how to like how to function, and it's really interesting. If you had all your knowledge now of like 21st century and you could get teleported into a world almost like a video game where you can do like magic and shit, it's like, well, you would have so much fucking experience and like bigger picture thinking to like just conquer that world. It'd be so fun, right? And it's like, well, why does isekai anime keep showing up? And it's like, well, maybe it's because we are already doing that. Maybe we are actually already in an isekai. Maybe we already have reincarnated into this world. We have actually chosen to be on Earth to have for a very specific experience. You know, maybe it's something really fun. It's like, imagine like 500 years in the future, we look back at this time, it's like maybe we're looking back at medieval times, right? And it'd be like, oh my God, like that was like kind of the golden ages, or like that'd be really fun, right? And it's like, well, maybe our future selves wanted to have an experience in this timeline, right? And it's like, perhaps we have just forgotten the fact that we are actually here to just have a good time or to have an experience, right? And maybe this anime, this genre is reminding us that, look, we actually have reincarnated here on Earth. We have chosen specifically to be here to have fun, perhaps, or to have some sort of experience, and to not condemn this life, because we have actually chosen it out of a very exciting or something or a meaningful reason. And perhaps we can actually reclaim our memories somehow. And it's like, imagine maybe there are people already that realize they have reincarnated here, and they have knowledge of their past lives or future selves or whatever, and they're just having a good time. They're already among us, right? And it's like, well, maybe we can do the same thing, or what have you. And actually, there's a channel called Meme Analysis that I think is really smart. And basically, it's a channel that is really into like the occult Jungian analysis and, you know, all the shit I'm kind of into as well. But they just take memes, you know, and they analyze like, why is there a Chad meme? Why is there a Hegel meme? And why are there this and that memes? And it's like, they analyze it from a perspective like of our collective unconscious, and what is perhaps is creating that meme, which I find is really interesting. So definitely check that out if you're into that kind of stuff. TLDW of this whole video is like, everything in this world that you see it's created for you. You know, it's like nothing is really an accident in a way. It's like everything is synchronistic. You know, you can either see everything is a miracle or nothing is. And it's like, well, I prefer to see everything as a miracle, because then that's kind of more fun, right? So I would say to not take anything for granted, and to take as much as you can responsibility for your reality, because I think the more responsibility you can take for everything that's created, and not play the victim card, you literally have the fucking power to become a god if you would just take into account of what is happening in your reality. It's like, if you are able to fully fucking perceive everything and just like bring it back into you, it's like you are able to bring the entire universe back into yourself. Then that's like, well, if you are able to contain the entire universe within yourself, then what are you except a god, right? Oh yeah. But I will say, like, don't fucking over-analyze everything and just overthinking shit, right? But it's like, you know, have a balance of like, not take things for granted, but also not to overthink everything and just kind of go fucking crazy into like conspiracy theories and like, you know, too much on that fucking spectrum, right? So on this day, my dear friends, I wish you a lovely day and a lovely life in this beautiful life that you have chosen to be reincarnated in. Oh yeah. Until next time, my dear co-creators of this reality, I bid you farewell, and I bid you Godspeed and peace and the insight and the courage to take control and power and freedom and fun of your life. Yeah, Stink Blasters, yo, pass them around. 24 characters, trading cards too. Give them a squeeze and PU. There's Neil, Brian, and Funk anymore. But as anyone here, even Big Bro. Just kidding. Okay.